My name is Rebecca Brown. I've been married for 4 years, but we don't have children. If we can't have children, it's fine as long as we live happily as a couple. And if I have a lifelong, trustworthy best friend, I think that's enough for happiness. One day, my best friend Mary came to our house and said she was pregnant. What? Mary, you're single, right? Are you planning to have the baby alone? I don't plan to have it alone. Looking at my husband, he seemed not so much surprised as he was laughing like he knew everything already. I thought, did he know about this? Not planning to have it alone means you're getting married, right? Oh, so you're finally getting married. Congratulations. That's wonderful. At that moment, I was genuinely happy. Raising a child alone is hard, so getting married seemed like the best option. So, who was the lucky guy? President candidate. Wow, really? Good for you. You always said you wanted to marry a rich man. So you finally caught one? Yes. So, the fortune is mine. The future is secure. Saying this, she smiled challengingly. And then, she made eye contact with my husband Steve. Seeing this, I couldn't help but think, wait. Is this? No, it can't be. Probably my face showed my disbelief, because Mary said mockingly. Yes, the guy is your husband, Steve. What? I turned to my husband in shock, and there he was, making a mocking face too. I prioritized having children. I want a divorce. A dream. I pinched my cheek, but there was no waking up from this reality, and the pain told me it was all true. What do you mean? It's pretty clear. Staying with you, there's no chance of having kids. No kids means no successor. Basically, you're useless. If you divorce me, you'll be in trouble, you know? No trouble at all. I'm guaranteed to be the next president. Indeed, my husband is a candidate for president. But that's just it, a candidate. If he divorces me, he would likely be removed from contention. However, it seems he hasn't considered that at all. That company is already mine. When I become president, I'll kick your father out of the company. I'm sick of him holding me back. Then, the child we'll have will be the successor. With that, the company's future and ours are secure, all thanks to Mary. Are you serious? Of course. I've been waiting for this chance. Even though you're not president yet? I will be soon, so there's nothing to worry about. With that, my husband sat back smugly, and Mary smiled satisfactorily next to him. To think I believed you were my best friend, and you'd steal my husband. Until now, you were the rich girl, and I was the poor one. I endured this unfairness. Whenever we went shopping, I could only afford cheap stuff, while you shopped at expensive stores. Do you know how frustrating that was? I can't wait for your father to be kicked out of the company so our roles can reverse. I'll shop at luxury stores, and you'll only afford discounted goods. How exhilarating that will be. You're lying. You stole someone's husband just for that? You wouldn't understand my frustration, so you say that. But it's really lucky you're infertile. Me, infertile? Since you can't have kids, that means you're infertile. That's right. You're infertile, so there's nothing you can do. It's not my fault I strayed, you couldn't have kids. As a president candidate, it's also my duty to have a successor, after all. So what happens if we divorce? Nothing much. Even if you are the president's daughter, it will soon mean nothing. So, you really think that? Yes, I do. You're worthless. Value. Well, fine. If that's how it is, let's get a divorce. I never dreamed my best friend would take you. But if that's your relationship, it's better you two marry for the sake of the child. I felt a great fatigue and was resigned to whatever came next. I had no intention of chasing after a cheater. But there was one thing I wanted to know. I'll agree to the divorce, but how long has this been going on? Oh. It started about 3 years after you got married. So, a year ago. Yes. He consulted with me. We can't have children. We've been married 2 years with no kids, tried treatments, but nothing worked. Without a child, there would be no successor. Indeed, no children then. That's when I suggested he should take a lover. A best friend suggests that? I never once thought of you as a friend. No. That's true. You're the only one who thought we were friends. That's why I made that suggestion to him. And Steve accepted your suggestion. Yes. Indeed, if the lover has a child, that child can be the successor. But why Mary as the mistress? That's simple. A man and a woman are together, and things just happen. So it's not because you two are in love? It's a match of interests. Love will eventually fade away, but mutual interests won't. So, I'll have Mary bear my child, and that child will be my successor. Then, I can be both the father of the successor and the president. In my old age, I can pass the president role to my child, and we will be secure. Calculating. Whether it's calculating or not, as long as we're happy, that's all that matters. Is that truly happiness? Happiness is different for everyone. You're just accepting it, aren't you? Your marriage to me was similar. Our marriage? Yeah, you might have felt love for me, but I never loved you. The only thing I loved was your background. A big company president as a father. Without that, marrying you would have been unthinkable. So that's why you were cooperative with the fertility treatments? Yes, exactly. We needed to find out where the problem was. If it turned out I was the issue, then there would be no hope for a successor. If I couldn't have children with a mistress either, then I'd have to think of another strategy. So, I definitely wanted to clear that up. But, in the end, it turned out I'm not to blame at all, so I could confidently go ahead and have a mistress. I see, that's how it is. Now you understand, right? I don't love you. Now that things are clear, please sign the divorce papers. Fine. Being married to someone who doesn't love me is unthinkable. And, I'll take this house. This house? Yes, this house. There's no mortgage, and it doesn't cost me anything to keep it. There's no reason not to take it. Fine by me. I don't care. Great, I'll live here happily with the child and the 3 of us. By the way, is the baby a boy? It's not certain yet, but it's probably a boy. What if it's a girl? If it's a girl, then we'll just have to have a second one. Then, I'll marry her off to a corporate heir. A marriage of convenience. Yes, I won't let the children do as they please. They will marry someone who can benefit our company. After all, if we're raising them, they should at least bring us some benefits. Disgusting. That's how the rich are. What an image you have. In this day and age, no one wants parents like that. Say whatever you want. It's not about trends. We have to keep having children and raise them to be useful for the company. That way, the parents make a fortune. That's abuse. It's for the children's happiness. So, leave all the furniture here when you go. I don't understand your so, but okay. It would be a hassle to take the furniture from here. I don't plan on taking anything except what's mine. You talk strangely. Oh, right. Because you bought them with Steve, they're not yours. I can't understand the mindset of the rich. Right, Steve? Yeah. Sorry to ruin your good mood, but... I said that and handed the divorce papers to my husband, then stood up. I went to the bedroom and brought back an envelope. When we had fertility treatments, I didn't tell you the results. You are sterile. Huh, sterile? You thought I was infertile, but it's you who's infertile. No way, you never said anything. If I had told you, you would have been overjoyed to cheat, right? If it wasn't going to happen anyway, you thought anything was okay. But even if I didn't say it, the result would have been the same. That's ridiculous. How could that be? The evidence is right here. He pointed at Mary's stomach, but Mary's face had turned pale. Huh, so this child is. If it turns out the mistress's lover's child, father wouldn't acknowledge it. That's crazy. And I'm passing on the debt to you. Debt? What are you talking about? You'll find out soon. So that's that. Enjoy your newlywed life, I'm done here. I'll come back for my things later. After dropping that bombshell, I left the house. From inside, I could hear Steve's serious voice. What do you mean I'm sterile? If I'm sterile, how could you get pregnant? Whose child is it? That's. There was another man besides me? That's. Tell me everything, spill it all. Stop, don't be violent. I'm pregnant. If the child isn't useful, then there's no point. Why were you cheating with another man? But I just really wanted to get married. I really wanted to be with Steve. You kept saying you'd divorce, but you never did. And a child, we never managed to have one. I thought if I didn't do something, another woman would end up having his child, so I panicked. Another woman? Yes, if I had a child quickly, Steve could relax, knowing the succession issue was resolved. That's true, but I thought my position would be secure if I could have a child. And then, when I really did get pregnant, you said we'd divorce immediately. I thought everything would go well. But who could have guessed that Steve was sterile? Yeah, I'm shocked too. It was all for you, Steve. That's right. It really was. If I'm sterile, then all we need to do is safely have and raise this child. If we make this child the successor, everything will work out. So, no matter what, this child has to be a boy. That's right, if we can't have any more children. Even if this one is a girl, I can have another child with another man. If that child is a boy, he can be the successor. I see. No matter the truth from you, Rebecca, if I deny it and say, look, there is a child, no one can further deny that. If it's you and me, we can make that happen. That's right, this is a match of interests. If it's for making a child a successor, I'll do whatever it takes with other men. And I'll make sure to carry a boy. That's right. Since I don't love you, it doesn't matter what happens with other men. That's right, a perfect win-win. Yes, exactly. Win-win. Rebecca has no children. No matter how things turn out, they have to make this child the successor. That means they have no choice but to make me from a president candidate to the next president. Just to clarify, there's no chance they'll make Rebecca the president, right? That won't happen. No matter that Rebecca is the daughter, she's a woman. There's no way a woman will become the president. That's right. A woman as a president, especially of such a large corporation, just doesn't happen. Yes, that's right. So, you must safely deliver the baby in your belly. With that decision made, the two of them submitted the divorce papers to the city hall. About 2 weeks later, they filed the marriage registration and contacted me with great joy. Rebecca. Ah, Mary. You seem in high spirits. Of course. We just officially became husband and wife. Now there's nothing to worry about. What were you worried about until now? After stealing someone else's husband. You don't think another woman could take him just because you're married, do you? Even if he is taken, I won't agree to a divorce. He can play around elsewhere as he likes. I'll do as I please too. Is that what marriage is? Yes, it's the new form of marriage. If that works for you, then fine. I can't understand it. You're just too rigid. Anyway, congratulations. Now I'm soon to be the president's wife. How about it? Want to go shopping together sometime? You're still the president's daughter, so you can shop elegantly, right? Sure, I'm not short on money, but I'll absolutely not go shopping with you. No need to hold a grudge. I'm not holding a grudge. I just don't need to hang out with someone who's not a friend. Well, that's fine. Do as you like. I've secured my seat as the wife of a large corporation's president. Is that why you called? Yes. I just had to tell you. I see, well understood. I'm busy, so I'm going to hang up now. After hanging up, I looked at the disconnected smartphone and smiled. This is just the beginning. I'll teach you just how selfish and full of holes your actions are. Be prepared. Muttering this, I started to act on a certain plan. A few days later, I called Steve to initiate my plan. Long time no see. Congratulations on your marriage. Hey, thanks to you giving up on me, we're happily married over here. Is that so? By the way, please return the house. What? Return the house? After all this time? You said you didn't want it. I never said I didn't want it. When you said you would take it, I just said I didn't mind. That's why I emphasized it so many times. Me not minding means I don't know about anyone else's opinion. What? What are you talking about? That house is yours, right? I can't afford such a large house. That house is my father's asset. The president's? Yes, when my father got married, he lent it to us for free. So now that we're divorced, it needs to be returned. That's ridiculous. You might think so, but this is reality. You just didn't know the reality. So, you're telling me to get out? That's what it comes down to. All the furniture in that house was bought by my father, so you can't take anything with you. If we're kicked out of here, where are we supposed to go? We're about to have a child. That's your problem, so I don't know. Can't you do something? No, I can't. If you stay there, it'll lead to a lawsuit for unlawful detention. Unlawful detention? You're going to be the president, so it's better for you not to be questioned for a crime, don't you think? That's true, but if you become a criminal, your dream of being the president will vanish. So, it's decided that I'm going to be the president? Yes, you're going to be the president. That's great. Then, there's no problem leaving this house. I might as well rent a luxury apartment. Well, it's up to you what you do. Do you know when the official appointment will be announced? The one about me becoming the president. It should be very soon. Is that so? I'm really going to be the president, huh? It has to be me, no one else could be the president. Congratulations. Ah, thank you. Despite the divorce, you still care about me, you really did love me. I thought. As if. How could you even think I loved you? What an idiot. However, Steve happily ended the call. Sometime later, Steve received his appointment. But the document appointed him as the president of a subsidiary, not the main company. Why am I being sent to a subsidiary? It was supposed to be the main company's president. Upon hearing it was a subsidiary, Mary was furious. No, it's just the first step. I'll be the president at the subsidiary, and if I improve performance there, then it will be the main company. Yes, in about 3 to 5 years, I should be able to become the president of the main company. Really? Yes, really. Naturally. But anyway, I'm still a president now. Good thing I rented this luxury apartment. If I hadn't become a president, I wouldn't have been able to afford the rent. But it turns out the information from Rebecca wasn't false. That's good, if you can really get back to the main company. Did you talk to the president about the child? No, now that it's come to this, there's no need to talk. It's settled that I'll become the main company's president. After that, I'll make sure the current president becomes the chairman. Then, I'll kick that person out of the main company. With that, the company will be mine. Make sure you secure it. Of course. Then you'll have to give birth to about 5 kids, doesn't matter if they're boys or girls. We'll marry them off strategically to expand the company. Leave it to me. However, the subsidiary's performance did not improve as the two had hoped. Has the performance improved? That's the thing, it's completely hopeless. Why? It's been a year? You've been president for a year and it's still hopeless. You can't become the main company's president like this. That's true. I've been trying, but for some reason, the sales just won't go up. Why don't you crack the whip on your employees? Threaten to fire them if they don't get new clients, they'll probably try harder. If there are employees who can't work hard for the company, it's better if they're not around. It'll save on personnel costs. That's a good point. As long as there are a few employees, let them make the others work harder. That's the way. Harassed daily by Mary about progress, Steve took the drastic step of firing employees who couldn't develop new business. As a result, the remaining employees had to handle even more work, and the company's operations started to falter. However, oblivious to this reality, Steve and Mary became tyrants, running the company as they pleased. Then, a personnel transfer notice was issued. There's a personnel transfer notice. Mary, acting like the president's wife, would come to the company every day and boss around the employees. One day, she eagerly read the notice, hoping it was about moving to the main company. What's this? What? It's about Steve moving to the main company, right? No. Rebecca has been appointed as the president of the main company. What? You're joking. Stop joking around. Shocked and panicked, Mary read the notice, and indeed, my name was listed there, Representative Director President, Rebecca Brown. Why has this happened? This is ridiculous. A woman as the president of such a large company. Steve. Go to the main office and complain. Spurred on by Mary, Steve hurried to the president's office. Hey. What's this all about? Arriving at the president's office, Steve slammed the personnel notice on the large desk. Is there something wrong with this personnel notice? Did you find a typo? That's not it. Why are you the president? It was decided by the board of directors. I didn't participate in the board meeting. You're on assignment, right? You don't even have the right to attend the meetings. What? Even though I'm on assignment, I'm still part of the main company. That's true. But if someone from the main company is embezzling, they can't really be considered part of it, can they? What? What I had placed on the desk was evidence of embezzlement. It detailed the embezzlement Steve had committed while he was at the main company. You hid it quite cleverly, using your position as a manager, but you didn't think it would be discovered? Silent, huh? Anyway, someone like you could never become a president with actions like these. This kind of thing. Everyone does this kind of thing, don't they? Sure, if you check thoroughly, even a clerk might be taking home pens or making personal copies. But, embezzling such a large amount of money and denying it? Moreover, doing this less than a year after being assigned? The evidence I presented was of the embezzlement at the subsidiary. I don't know about this. I haven't done such a thing at the current company. Do you think I can believe that? This isn't something I did. In reality, the previous president had committed the embezzlement. Knowing this, I had been saving this information to corner Steve. There's evidence right here. You can see it in this ledger. There's unauthorized withdrawal, isn't there? I've just been assigned. I wouldn't do such a thing at the assignment place. Even though you say you've just been assigned, it's been a year. And since you did it at the main office, saying you haven't done it isn't believable. Besides, you have a lot of debt, don't you? Didn't you use it for that? How do you know that? This is a corporation, a major one at that. We thoroughly investigate people we can't trust. When I looked into it, it seems you've borrowed quite a sum. Expecting me to believe you under these circumstances is impossible. Plus, you keep firing employees who don't perform as you wish, burdening the remaining staff with even more work and forcing them to do unpaid overtime. Do you think a company can function this way? Employees aren't robots generating money for you to embezzle. I really don't know anything about it. I haven't done anything. This is a conspiracy. Someone is trying to frame me. Bringing down a small fry like you wouldn't benefit anyone. Or is someone holding a grudge against you? I haven't done anything to be resented by anyone. I thought. I resent you, though. Anyway, normally this would be a case for disciplinary action, but if we fire you, you won't be able to repay the embezzled money. Can I remain as the president? Well, our company will sever ties with you. But I'll give you that subsidiary. Huh, that company for me? Yes. You're going to have a child soon, right? Work hard to grow that company and pass on the president's chair to your child. Of course, you'll have to fully repay the embezzled amount. This way, your future is secure, right? Ah, thank you. Rebecca really does care about me. I truly appreciate it. I thought, no need for thanks. Like you could grow that company. Steve happily returned to Mary, but he was oblivious that the real hell was just beginning. The subsidiary had no funds. Cut off from the main company and with previous misappropriations by the former president, there was no money to pay suppliers. Suppliers were demanding payments, and without their materials, nothing could proceed. Furthermore, employees gradually resigned, requiring severance payments. This made it even difficult to pay salaries. Eventually, Steve was left alone in the company, and the few who came for interviews were worthless. No decent person showed up. Of course, I had a hand in this situation. It's hopeless. Why does everything I do fail? It would be better if the company didn't exist. Thinking this, Steve finally decided to close the company. However, he couldn't resolve the payments to suppliers, who then sued him. With no work and unable to repay, he ultimately declared bankruptcy, leading him to a miserable life. Every day, Mary would berate him, blaming his sloppy planning for their downfall. If you had let me handle it, it would have been fine, but all you told were lies. This is the worst. Mary continued to scream, and the child, frightened by her voice, cried. Steve always had to console the child. Amidst this, a bill for compensation arrived. Huh, what? This bill for compensation? What's going on? It was the compensation from when I divorced Steve. More than a year had passed since our divorce, but I decided now was the time to claim it. Given that we both were presidents, I demanded a significant amount. Steve was shocked, having not anticipated this. I've declared bankruptcy, so I shouldn't have to pay. When the bill arrived, Steve called, screaming. Oh, that's too bad. Even if you declare bankruptcy, you still have an obligation to pay compensation. That's ridiculous. Steve aged rapidly from the shock, his hair turning white. But that wasn't the end, as Mary, burdened by the compensation, left him with their child. Left alone, Steve desperately asked me for a chance to start over, but I had no intention of reconciling with such a calculating person. I told him, I hope you fall into hell. And hung up. After that, Steve, unable to afford the rent for the luxury apartment, moved to a dilapidated apartment. Despite his luxurious tastes, he couldn't do anything about his situation. He tried to start over, but the only company that hired him was a small sales firm. Knowing he had found a job, I decided to send him a bill for the embezzled amount. He said he shouldn't have to pay because he had declared bankruptcy, but embezzlement obligations don't disappear so easily. Despite visiting several lawyers, the answer was the same. When he asked them to defend him, knowing I was the opponent, no one would take his case, and he ended up paying a substantial amount. However, with the compensation on top of the embezzlement money, he struggled, and eventually committed embezzlement at his new job, got caught, and ended up in prison. Now, without the struggle of living, he wouldn't have any troubles until his release, but after that, a massive debt would still be waiting, making his life unbearable. As for Mary, I checked to see how she was doing. She had put their child up for adoption and was enjoying a romance with a wealthy man. However, there was a catch. This man was involved in shady business dealings, and eventually, like Steve, she ended up in prison. The world is full of pitfalls you never see coming.